This video is designed to help students who are struggling with group by versus where, in particular when you're having duplicate records when you don't think you should have duplicate records. So in this query, we're in the Dunder Mifflin database. In this query, we're trying to find out the sales representatives that sold the most in terms of total revenue in the first 3 months of 2008. Now specifically, we're looking for those who sold the most cardstock. And so we've created this query. We have the sales rep's first name and last name. We have the transaction date, and I've already applied a criteria here where we've got between 1/1/2008 and 3/31/2008. And so that criteria should limit it to just the first 3 months of the year. We're calculating the total using quantity and cost per item. We've also applied the totals row and added the sum aggregate function here. And then we have description because we need to limit it just to those cardstock sales. So this should be what we want, but when we run this query, one thing you might notice is we have some sales reps that are listed more than once. We have duplicates. We have, for example, here's Dwight Schrute. And if we look down here, oh, here's Dwight Schrute again, and then here's Dwight Schrute again. And so, so Dwight appears several different times. In this first one, you'll notice that Dwight sold cardstock. He made a sale of cardstock for $909.88, and then again $909.88. Now normally what we would do is we would go and we would turn on the totals row and we would switch these things to group by and get rid of those duplicates. But in this case it doesn't work, and here's why. Group by only removes duplicates when all of the fields are exactly the same in a particular in multiple records. Here, we have all of the fields the same except for the transaction date, because Dwight made 2 sales of $909.88, one in January and one in March. And so when we add group by, it actually can't collapse those 2 records into one record because they're not the same. So what we need to do is we need to tell Access, this transaction date field, use it for the criteria, but don't use it for doing grouping. Here's how we do that. Here's our transaction date field. We want to tell Access, hey, don't use this for grouping. We don't want group by to be on. And so what we do is we change this to where. Where tells Access, just use this field for the criteria. Don't use it for any grouping. Now, another rule of thumb is if we have a field in an aggregate query, and by aggregate query I mean one with the totals row on, if we have a field that we don't want to show, well, the only reason we would put it in there is if we want to use a criteria. And so for those cases, we probably should switch all of those from group by to where. That just makes the most sense. Now we also don't want to see description. If we run this query, we'll just see cardstock, 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 cardstock. We also don't want to see that one. So we can either uncheck this one or also change it to where. In this case, it won't matter because all of the values are the same. But now when we run this query, we can see, oh, okay, there's Dwight. He only appears once. And we've actually, the aggregate function, that sum function, has actually been able to sum all of his sales of cardstock across those 3 months. And so he's actually the top salesperson for cardstock for those first 3 months of the year.